23 years y'all have allowed me to come and do this, and I want to thank you on behalf of the pastors of this town. A lot of places don't let this happen anymore, and we're very appreciative and honored that you asked us to come pray for you. And I always remind you, our church prays for you every week, and you have a tough job, and we pray for you. We're thankful for you, so thank you for the privilege to come pray this morning. God, we thank you for your presence in this room, and God, we live in one of the greatest places in the world, and it's changing rapidly, and Lord, that means that this group of people need a lot of wisdom. And God, you told us in your word if we lack wisdom to ask for it. And so, God, I ask on behalf of these precious folks that, Lord, you'd give them the wisdom they need to carry forth the business of this great county. Thank you, God, for their service. And I pray your richest blessings on everything they do. Father, give them favor even today, God, as they work through this session. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I would like to welcome the Chamber of Commerce Director, Mike Griffith, Director of Schools, Dr. Linda Cash, and did I see someone else judge come in? We welcome all the people that are here. It's good that we have participation. At this time, I'd like for the roll to be called, please.
Goins.
Here.
Slater.
Here.
Mason.
Here.
Ledford.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Winters.
Here.
Beatty.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Alford.
Here.
Cry.
Here.
Blake.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Gilbert.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
It's 14 present and none absent.
Thank you very much. I entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Goins.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Beatty.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
This time I'd like to ask the mayor, please, for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. I passed out a letter to you that's from the city of Cleveland. Pretty good timing there. That's exactly what we talked about last Monday. And 2 days later, I received a copy of a letter requesting just that. But it's requesting that we reconvene the Growth Plan Coordinating Committee. And I do plan on doing that with the appointments. I'll be bringing back, I assume it'll take a resolution and those appointments in the very near future. Just a FYI on that. Also, we have the famous Bill Winters budget request book, one he doesn't like to look at, but I assure you these pages will be torn and very messed up by the time I get through with it over the next several weeks. But this is your budget request that's come in. That's still missing some of the special funds, but in the general fund, I think it was the requests are a little bit over $2 million increase over this year, assuming they get what they want. And most of them are in line like usually. There's 2 or 3 that are out of whack, but I guess they have some really good needs that they'll justify somewhere in that book. But that's all I have unless someone has a question for me.
Anyone have any comments or questions for the mayor?
If not, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Consent agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the consent agenda. Goins on approval. Second, please.
Second.
Hughes on the second. Open for discussion. Being no discussion, call the roll, please.
Goins.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Beatty.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to the reports from the committees and our districts. We'll start on our right with Commissioner Beatty, please.
Everything's going pretty well in the first district, but I've had a lot of calls about this animal control in it. Terrible calls. And they all think they should have some kind of animal control in Bradley County. We should go back to it. And I don't really disagree with them because here lately I've seen one place 3 dogs running wild, another place 6 dogs, and I've seen single dogs different places and everything. But I think a lot of them might even be people who lives in the city and just bring them out there and turn them out. And furthermore, I live on a farm. They turn them out there, but like a year ago, I went around the barn and one of them like a bit me, and I eased back to the vehicle. But that's all I have right now.
Thank you very much. Mayor Davis has got all those funds for that animal control and that. Look, Mayor Davis has the funds for that animal control you're talking about. Commissioner Hughes, please.
Mr. Chairman, we had a joint meeting between Fire and Land today. A motion was made during this meeting that, to let the mayor deputize anyone that's needed to negotiate the construction of the new fire department or fire garage, whichever way you want to put that. I put that in the form of a motion, if I can. Can I do that today?
Do I have a second? Mr. Thompson on the second, open for discussion. Any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater, Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Alford, Cry,
Yes.
Blake,
Yeah.
Collins,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor, none opposed.
Is that it?
And Mr. Chairman, during that discussion, there was many items that came up, a list of items with, well, the mayor was actually writing them down about this new construction. I'm assuming that today, most likely, and I'll bring this up later on, there'll probably be a substitute motion made to this resolution that's been passed later on when that comes up. So otherwise, I think I have nothing else to pass on.
Commissioner Alford, we welcome you back, sir.
Thank you. District 2 is doing well. I'm back on my feet again finally after 3 weeks. As you can see, I've been working out, so I got built up pretty good here lately. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's concerns and help that they've offered, and thank everybody in Bradley County for their prayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Blake, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is good to see my colleague here back in feisty as ever, and I'm sure he will continue doing just that. Also, I want to recognize former Commissioner Brian Smith with us this afternoon. Good to see you, sir, as well as Judge Andrew Morgan. Good to see you as well. Thank you for being here. Other than that, District 3 is doing well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I think I've missed our judge back there, Judge Morgan, too. And, well, you're welcome, sir. I apologize. I can't depth. I have bad vision, I guess. Commissioner Collins, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just again want to echo the welcome back to Commissioner Alford. It's great to have him back. And again, a nod to former Commissioner Brian Smith from District 3. Great to see him here. So we're thankful for that. Other than that, all is well.
Great. Commissioner Winters, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Make sure the mic's here. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, the mayor asked me to serve on a committee that I really did not feel like I was prepared for. It was called Art is Here. And they had a formation meeting, and I realized I was really out of my element because they knew exactly what they were doing, and I did not know well. But I learned a little bit, and I moved on, and others came in. But Sunday, if you had the opportunity to see Mary Poppins, I did with my grandkids. We sat in the Dixon Center, and I saw our local people really act out on the stage, do such great presentation. My kids loved it. We all loved it. I could call out a lot of names here, but Kevin Roberts was the main chimney sweep. He was a student for my wife, and one of the reasons she wanted to go was see him do his thing, and he did a great job. But our own Melissa Allie Woody played the role of Miss Brill, and she did it as a superstar in that. All of them did very well. So this is a group that's just started, and this is their first major performance that I saw. and it was really coming to fruition. And it was a dream for Connie Gatlin and that team, but now it's come, and you get an opportunity to see our people, our neighbors acting on stage and doing what they feel like they're called to do, they're supposed to do, and they're entertaining us. So it was a great evening. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Gilbert, please.
Mr. Chairman, Juvenile Committee will be meeting April the 5th at 11 a.m. and at the Juvenile Center instead of here. They have done some remodeling and stuff like that, and they would like for us to see it, and Judge Morgan's got some stuff that he's going to be presenting, and the committee looks forward to seeing the changes and the upgrades to the courtroom. Thank you, sir. That's all for me.
Okay, sir. Commissioner Thompson, please.
Mr. Chairman, yes, there'll be on the 25th at 12 o'clock, there will be a on-site meeting at Menace Road Fire Department. And we'd like for the commissioners to be there, and also the Fire Department, Fire and Rescue Committee, and also the Building and Land Committee. And any commissioners, anybody, it's open to the public, so anybody that wants to be there. But we're going to look at the property where we're thinking about building the new fire hall. And so we just want everybody on site where they'll know what we're talking about. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Goins, please.
Fifth district doing well. Been good.
That's great. Commissioner Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report today.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 6th District's doing well. I want to remind everyone about Saturday, Household Hazardous Waste Day at the Sheriff's Office, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hope to see everybody out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Ledford, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. I want to thank Donut Gilbert there for supplying me donuts last week for my birthday, and also like to thank Josh and his staff at Wholesale for getting me a water heater I needed. My birthday is tomorrow. I will be 61 years old, and just want to say publicly that I thank the Lord for my good health. And I, too, along with Mr. Beatty there, have received multiple calls about the SPCA, and I think we all have. So that's an issue we'll deal with as time goes on. And but other than that, Mr. Chairman, 6th District is doing well. Thank you.
That's great. Commissioner Rogers, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to echo the sentiments and welcome Coach Alford back to looking good and strong and getting around, and glad to have you back up here with us. And other than that, 7th District's doing great.
That's great. We have no unfinished business. We'll go next to the approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion.
So move.
Second. Commissioner Winters on the second, Goins on the first. Agenda item A, 1st District vacancy.
We need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to vote, don't we? Yeah. Call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Alford,
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to agenda item A, 1st District Constable vacancy. That's covered on page 32. We only had one applicant, as I understand. Do I have someone that would make a motion? Commissioner Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Darren Brantley. He was already voted in as the newest constable. So this is no more than a formality to start him up a little bit earlier. I think he'll do an excellent job. He has done a great job so far. So.
Thank you very much. Are there any other applicants? There being none, any discussion? There being none, call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Alford,
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you. Agenda item B, Commissioner Howard Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, resolution authorizing the county mayor to negotiate a written agreement to the city of Cleveland regarding the proposed fire garage. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Do I have a second, please? Commissioner Rogers on the second. Open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, during our meeting today, we had several discussions about this. It was the main topic. And honestly, I think where we have the issue is the part where it says a written agreement. What the city has come, or what the committees came together to say is roughly they wanted him to continue negotiating with what we had brought up, the different areas, which he has noted down. At this point, I don't know if it wouldn't be just better just to table this until later, personally. So I'll make a substitute motion just to table this until after talks, or more talks with the city.
Mayor Davis, you have any comments?
Got a motion, second.
Do I have a substitute motion? Do I have a second on the substitute? Second on Commissioner Gilbert. Open for discussion.
No discussion on the table.
Could you just repeat what the motion? Motion to
Table it
Oh,
until after.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
yes.
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 No.
Yes.
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 Substitute motion carries.
Point of clarification. So now that we just tabled this resolution authorizing the mayor negotiation, does this stop negotiation? So this kills the whole deal.
The thing that got tabled was the fact it was
That's what you
going to be a
voted on.
written agreement.
Yes,
This
the
just
written
lets him
agreement.
carry on with the negotiations
Yes.
he's already doing.
Just written to negotiate.
I thought you tabled the whole resolution.
No.
Tabled the resolution. Written agreement. If we go into a written agreement, that's an agreement.
Okay,
We
so
can
mi-
continue negotiations.
Back to my point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, does the mayor now, he cannot negotiate with the city? It's a, kind of a yes or no question.
I'll refer that to the county attorney, please.
I mean, we just,
Well, it's procedure a little confusing because you all during committee and district reports approved the committee recommendation, which we can read it back. I think use the word negotiate, but I'm not positive about that. And essentially this resolution did the same thing that the motion did. So I'm not sure where we are.
well, Mayor, do you feel like you can go negotiate now? You just tabled the resolution authorizing you to do so.
I agree with you, Mylan. I asked for authorization to continue to negotiate. You tabled it, so in my opinion, I have no authorization to continue to negotiate.
Thank you for the clarification.
You have to make a motion to re-put it back on.
Commissioner Winters.
Legally, as this commission voted on the written agreement, we do not say you could not negotiate. That's what was brought up there. And it says here, as it says there, it's a wording situation. Our vote was basically to not put in writing because the committee's already asked for other things to be done. So where's that legal position?
I'm not sure.
Or do we need it?
The mayor has said he doesn't feel like he has the authority based on the two votes to continue negotiate. So I think that's probably where it would be at this point.
Commissioner Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, to a point of clarification on this, we do have another meeting, joint meeting coming up on the 25th. It's easy enough to vote to put another resolution in, leaving out the written agreement portion. But we do have another meeting coming up, and I truly feel that that meeting needs to come before we agree to a negotiation in writing ahead of that meeting. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
That's really where the majority vote was, to not put in writing, but to continue negotiating, as we as a committee.
So, question. You keep honing in on the not put it in writing. So if I negotiate an agreement, you want it to come to you verbally, you don't want it in writing. Is that what you're saying?
Commissioner Thompson, please.
Let me read my motion over again, let's vote.
Go ahead.
It's already been voted on.
You can't.
Mr.
Well,
Chairman,
you got a substitute, you got a substitute motion, that's what it was.
Commissioner Rogers, please.
point of clarification. This was just a written agreement that the city would write an agreement of what it was, and you would bring it back to this commission for us to agree to it, for then you to sign that agreement. Is that correct? So it's just getting put in writing to say, here's everything we've asked for in building and land and fire, what we want, and then we go back and forth until it reads exactly how we want. Is that correct? So I just don't understand why we wouldn't want an agreement if we're thinking about selling this property, why we wouldn't want it in writing to be able to see all the clarity of everything that's there.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I understand what's been said, but I go back to, we have another joint meeting that's coming together that's going to have more information coming from it, and then the recommendation can be made from a committee, not just thrown up in one day. So it gives us more time to look at it. If this has been going on for 3 years, I don't see what waiting a week will hurt.
Clarification the vote's already done, so there's nothing we could do, but for in future reference, should we have just made a motion to postpone the vote, to move the vote instead of table the vote? And wait a week or two? To be able to vote on a resolution that we needed more time and more information to understand? That,
I'll go back to the county attorney for counsel on this, please.
Yes, and for those of you that don't recall, we've had this discussion before. The motion to postpone is different than a motion to table, and it's a very different effect. A motion to postpone, you have a definite time that you postpone it to. A motion to table, there is no definite time. The issue is just dead. Yes.
Dead for how long?
There is a procedure to bring it back up, which is where we are at this point, but it does make it more difficult to bring something back up.
Commissioner Thompson, please.
I got a question to ask county attorney. We have a meeting on the 25th at 12 o'clock with the on-site meeting for the fire building and whoever wants to come. And what I would like to do on the 25th, maybe we can clarify this, is put that motion at that regular meeting, the next regular meeting, voting meeting. And that'll be after a meeting on site.
What do you want?
But I'd like to make a motion that we do that, we go ahead and wait till after the on-site meeting, then we'll put it back on the agenda to authorize the mayor to go ahead and negotiate with the city.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
You can't
do it,
add
though.
things to the agenda right now, unless you vote to suspend the rules, which of course you can then do, but at this point, you can't add anything to the agenda
However,
that's
we,
not already on there.
however, we can add that to the agenda for that day, for that meeting. So we can still do what you're asking to do.
But
Just
you
good
have
on
to vote
that.
to untable first.
Yes,
It's a totally different.
don't have a week.
We all are at a point of understanding on where we're at. 14 educated people here, it's amazing. All right. We'll wait until the 25th. It'll be on the agenda for the meeting, 25th, and then we can vote on it. Right. Okay. All right.
Well, you wouldn't vote on it to April the 1st, because next week is a work session.
Yeah, then we'd vote on it. You're right. Next voting session is when we, I'd like to back up a little bit here. We approved the district constable. I'd like to have Judge Morgan, if possible, to come forward and swear the new constable in.
All right. How are you all today?
We're good.
Hey, Andrew.
I don't know anything. So, guys, Darren has been a part of the community for a long time. I'm really looking forward to the job he's going to do as constable. The constables provide a great service to the residents, Bradley County, to the sheriff's department, to all of us. Every week upstairs on Wednesdays in civil court, we have 250 cases every week, and these guys serve a big chunk of those. I know Darren's going to get out there immediately and start working and getting those papers served and do a good job for us. So I know he's not much of a talker, but if he would like to say something.
I appreciate everybody's support through this, and I'll work as hard as I can for everybody. Right, I appreciate everybody's prayers.
Certainly lucky to have you. And we've got 6 other constables that do a good job. If you change, I run into Jason Corum all the time, Tim Fowler. Need something, I know they'd be happy. It's gonna be good. Phil. Oh, we're waiting on the oath. Go through.
My family has actually held the office for constable in the first district for the last 34 years in a row. So it felt like I was handing off, just handing off a baton to our new constable today. I think so. He has some large shoes to fill, that's for sure.
Very big, very big. All right, sir. Good. Raise your right hand. All right. And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will well and truly serve the state of Tennessee in the office of constable, will cause the peace of the state to be kept to the best of my power, and that I will arrest all persons that go in my sight armed offensively, or who commit any riot, affray, or other breach of the peace, and will use my best endeavor, on complaint made, to apprehend all felons, rioters, or persons riotously assembled, and if such persons flee or make resistance, I will pursue and make hue and cry according to law, and that I will faithfully and without delay execute and return all lawful process directed to me,
and that I will well and truly, according to my power and ability, but no, you're good, according to my power and ability, do and execute all other duties of the office of constable. I do solemnly swear.
Very good. Congratulations. Thank you, Judge Morgan. Come back and see us more often, sir. We'll now go to agenda item C. Commissioner Slater, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a non-exclusive perpetual access easement across map and parcel number 065KH02200 for each currently landlocked property owner in Willowhill Subdivision. And I place this in the form of a motion.
Second.
Who was the second? Commissioner Blake on the second. Open for discussion. So, you have something, Commissioner Hughes?
I have one concern. I feel like we're going to open up Pandora's box for this. I am in favor of it, so please understand this. But there are subdivisions that's scattered throughout the county. It's the same as this one. It has the same situation, property owners that are landlocked because developers at the time didn't put a road into them. And I don't know where we're going to go after this. So,
Well, I would assume that each one of them would need to come forward, and it would be handled on a case-by-case basis like this one was. The owners came forward, it was brought up at road committee. We discussed it came, Crystal, I'll let you, if you want to share anything else.
Well, I certainly do share Commissioner Hughes's sentiment. However, I do think this one is different, and I can tell you all why. So when this first came up, my reaction was exactly what Commissioner Hughes just said, because we do have other locations in the county where a developer comes in, doesn't build the road, and the county's not in the business of building roads. We maintain roads. Once they're dedicated to the county, we do not build roads. And that is the position of the road department and continues to be the position of the road department. The only difference in this one, however, is the fact that when I normally give advice to those property owners, I tell them to go back to the original developer and attempt to purchase rights to that unopened alleyway that was never constructed as a road, so they can either build a private road, they can do something, and these people actually attempted and looked at doing that, only to find out that the county is actually the owner, according to the records, of this strip, which was supposed to be a road. I can't tell you exactly how. The only note we have is per Barrett Painter in 2005. So from that, it's my assumption that it was through some sort of tax where someone didn't pay the taxes on it, and that is the ownership interest. So on this one, I do think it's different. Most of the scenarios that you're talking about, the county doesn't actually own anything. The roads were never dedicated. The county doesn't own it. So this one is unique, and while I do share some concerns, I can't tell you this is a perfect solution. There could be issues. We now have allowed people to traverse county-owned property, several people, if we sign off on these and their concerns. It's just on this one, there is not another solution, because we talked about the concept of selling it, but if we sell it, we can't really sell it to one person because then we landlock the rest of them. So this is the only solution I know of, other than saying, unfortunately, your property is going to remain landlocked.
Commissioner Blake, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, Crystal. So I made a second on this, so obviously I'm going to support it, but should it fail, and when we get here to vote, what's the next course of action, or is this it?
There would be no further action on behalf of the county at that point. It would be on the property owners to either accept the fact that it's landlocked or file some sort of action in court to try to get access.
So this gives it some finality, is it?
Yes, it allows them to issue building permits and to be able to cross our property to get to the road.
Should it fail? Thank you.
no,
Should
if
it pass?
if it passes.
Should it fail, they're landlocked and they can't get building permits.
Commissioner Winters, please.
Is there a means by where the contractor could be culpable to put a road in there? How do you build a subdivision with no easement? with
Well,
no way to get in
unfortunately,
and out?
no. We do now have subdivision regulations and everything in place where bonds are required so that we do make sure roads get built. We do not have this problem perpetuating itself. They're all old problems, but most of them are really old, including this one.
Any other discussion, please? There being none, call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater, Yes.
Yes.
Mason, Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Alford,
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you. Agenda item D, Commissioner Collins, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to adopt the resolution that was discussed at the work session last week opposing the Education Freedom Scholarship Act in Tennessee. The resolution may be found on pages 33 and 34 of your agenda packet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Slater on the second. Open for discussion, please. Dr. Cash, would you like to speak? Dr. Cash, for those of you who aren't familiar, is our Director of Schools for Bradley County.
Linda Cash, Bradley County Schools. First, I would like to say thank you for always supporting public schools. I was actually about to get on the roller coaster when I got the news that this was before y'all, so I thank you for supporting us at all costs. What I would like to say really about the funding side of it is when I've asked multiple legislatures and sent messages up, I can't get a clear understanding of the boundaries of the funding or how to keep it from exploding. When I researched personally different states that had adopted the universal voucher with no boundaries, with exceeding that, very quickly the funding became out of control and surpassed what the expectations were. And so I'm proud of this commission and the work that you do to send a message that funding is important. This part is really something they need to dig deep in. I believe they are trying to do that. But as it sits right now, there are very little pieces that are publicly in place to stop it from exploding in Tennessee as it did in the 5 other states that I interviewed, or didn't interview, that I researched and looked at. So your work on this is greatly appreciated. I would also tell you that our chairman and our legislative liaison for the board are working on a letter to send to them, basically stating the same thing that you have done, the funding. And I also want everyone to understand that if a student is not in the seat of a public school, in particular Bradley County schools, the schools do not get funds for that student. They actually have to be present. So I think it's a misnomer that we just get all of this funding and that the local share for us surpasses the state share. So it will impact that long range funding. I'm not sure if there's been a long range study. I think that's something they still need to look at. But from me personally and from our board, we appreciate you looking at the funding side to say, before we open the floodgates, let's take a longer look at this. So greatly appreciated.
Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Cash, for being here today.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate what you said about your board getting ready to issue a letter or resolution, I guess opposing this as well.
I won't step in front of the board because I know that our chair as well as our legislator are working on it, and it will go to the entire board, but they are all proponents of public education.
Sure. And I think all of us up here are proponents of public education as well. My question is that you stated that you still don't understand the funding as it is right now, because there's multiple different bills out there.
There are actually 3 bills. There is the governor's bill, the Senate bill, and the House bill. All 3 of them have I think it's a little over $7,000 that would be coming out. I think in the bills, not so much all 3 of them, but there is, for the first part, a $20,000, but then it continues to go up after that.
it's the long range that I think we need to look at before we go all into universal vouchers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you as well. I think that there's definitely needs to be more clarity
Absolutely.
on all these bills because
Yes.
there's so many different ones. I have an issue really. I don't have an issue with Commissioner Collins' resolution at all. I oppose. There's a lot of things in from what I'm hearing, right, and reading and seeing, but until I have hard proof to be able to actually know, right. I mean, I've used this example because I've gotten many phone calls this week as well about this and about this resolution. But I feel like at this point currently, I personally just don't know exactly what is all in these bills. And if I was to take a test or take a vote on something that I don't know, if I'm in school and I'm taking a test on 4 chapters, but I've only learned the first 2 because 3 and 4 aren't out there yet, well, how can I even do well on that? And so that's my issue with this is that I feel like there is so much more to know about this. And, you know, normally when we pass resolutions, like we've seen with the resolution earlier by the mayor, we want to go to a committee to be able to learn more about it and talk more about it. And so I have a hard time voting on this today without knowing. And even
Well,
Dr.
Mr. Rogers, what I do know is we do know that it is a little over $7,000 that would go with this bill. So whether it's 20,000 students or it's 40,000 in the future, there is a financial piece that's already attached to that. With the universal vouchers, there's not a cap that we can see. So I don't think your resolution as a commission is, I think what you're saying is, let's look at the financial piece of this before we put this in place. So that's my viewpoint. That's my viewpoint with them as well in the legislation is, do we really know the financial impact? Have we studied the full financial impact? So when I look at this, I don't look at it as we are in what you guys are doing is supporting the fact, let's look at the finance before we move forward. That's my viewpoint of it personally.
Commissioner Blake, please.
And we made this clear, it's worth mentioning again. This is only speaking to the financial piece. The school board can deal with the curriculum side and all those pieces there. But I have a question, Dr. Cash, if you don't mind. You receive public dollars.
Yes, sir.
From the state and from the county and stuff like that. And a citizen can come to the school board and formally request documentation. You have a number of contracts, everything from who provides milk to
Yes, sir.
where you purchase gasoline.
Yes,
and you have to supply that information to the person requesting that information, a Freedom of Information Act. Right, because you receive public dollars, you are transparent or accountable for how you spend the money, you and the school board.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like the auditors live with us, so that's okay.
Exactly, and that was my point last month. We do know that piece of it is that taxpayers, public money is going to be transferred over without any accountability at this point in time. We do know that Governor Lee, with all due respect, is not going to have a fundraiser. He's going to use public dollars in order to do this. And that's my issue. If there was the piece in there, the accountability that a citizen can go to a private school and say, I'd like to see the contract that you just entered into for, whatever, and they have to supply that information, that would be a different story. But that, from what I understand, is not the case. So I think public dollars and the accountability piece is a very, very critical piece. We hold you and your school board and all the school boards throughout the state accountable, and that's the right thing to do. But so far, I haven't heard that that's going to be the case, and that's the reason why I'm going to support this is because I want that accountability piece in there.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
I'll be honest with you, I was actually in support of this. Not so much about sending a letter, but I was actually in support of the voucher. There was one thing, I know I'm going to be attacked on this, but it is what it is. It is what changed my mind. This is what I read in it. An eligible student is not required to possess a valid Social Security number in order to receive this scholarship. I'm sorry, but I can't support that. So,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Mr. Hughes, may I comment on that?
please.
I do want to know there are some very valid differences with how the money and the structure of the money. But I do want you to know, public schools, we are actually required to accept everyone and to educate everyone, which is where my heart is. And so I appreciate your bringing that to the forefront. We don't have that option.
I don't have an issue with free, I don't have an issue with educating every child. But now we're talking about giving a opportunity to children that, as our own citizens, to kids that are not. It's our tax money. And I know me and my wife and several family members had discussions about this, and every one of us have had the same thought about it. And I feel sorry for these people. I truly do. I really do. But when is enough enough?
Commissioner Rogers, please.
Thank you. I too have read that and understand that, and there is a lot of issues that I have with voucher bills that are going forward. What we're voting on today is the resolution of the states, right? My concern or my issue with this resolution is that I feel like there needs to be more clarity within the resolution. Commissioner Blake, you've mentioned 5 or 6 different things that you don't agree with. There are 5 or 6 things that I definitely don't agree with the legislation that's going through, to where I could see both sides of it. I can see that voucher program could be a good thing for Tennessee. I could also see that where it could be a bad thing. When we just sit here and send a resolution out that just says that we oppose the Education Freedom Scholarship Act, I mean, that just says we oppose, it's not the financial piece of it, we oppose all of it. And that's, in my opinion, that we're opposing everything to do with it. For me, if we were clear on saying, hey, we oppose, sure that you have to have a social security number, make sure that no public dollars go from schools, make sure you have a listing of all these things, that's where I could absolutely 100% vote yes on that. But at this point in time, I just feel like it's a blanket statement that says, we oppose this and this, but we, at the end of the day, we oppose the Education Freedom Scholarship. And I do have one question. Dr. Cash, does the public school system require social security numbers for everybody enrolled?
Well, we have a student ID number. We can no longer, the answer is yes, but there is an alternative state ID number that we also use.
Commissioner Gilbert, please.
Has the state representatives and your Senate and stuff, have they even come and spoke to you about it?
Yes, sir. I have spoken with them. They are more or less presenting the bills, and we are still in lots of conversations. They know where I stand personally, that I'm a proponent of public education and all that we offer. I will also say that there's a lot of emotion in a lot of this, and so over the past week in laying out all through, I do believe, and this is personal, this is not my school board, so let me state that up front, that the House bill seems to be more of items that are in it that would support public schools, but it also still has that universal voucher in it. I personally believe through prayer that we serve the least of these. I believe these bills do not lend itself to really looking hard at the least of these. That is my personal opinion. But I also believe we have just a basic funding question. Where does it stop? How far does it go? And what's the long range impact? And in that sense, I do support what Mr. Rogers is saying, is that, we don't know. We do know, after looking at all the other states who have implemented, it has created problems, financial problems for the state, financial problems for the public schools. But what I am adamant about is look at the funding. Where does the funding, what are the guardrails in this? And I personally think with stepping forward and saying you are concerned about the funding is a very positive step. They are still in the throes of looking at all of this. So the more information that you can give them related to what does the funding look like, can you tell us about the funding? We are opposed until we know more about the funding, I think is a positive thing. I know they're getting, our legislatures, as well as the rest of them, are getting resolutions from everywhere saying they are against it. I personally think that the funding is where we really need to look, and is there a stopgap? Because at some point, well, as we've looked at budgeting, we know that our funding is not coming in as it has in the past, that we are not receiving. And as the state is also in a shortfall of their predicted funding. So I think when you focus on the funding, you're in a positive direction. I think you are absolutely right that the school board, myself, we look at the whole picture of it. What are the academic outcomes? What are the testing outcomes? What's the accountability for everybody? But you are my funding body, and you have that right and that authority to express that, because where it ends up is how much more does come from local than it would state. And I really believe there are people in Nashville that are really wanting to look at that, and your voice would be important.
Commissioner Winters, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for
I'm
being...
not sure I'd rather not be on a roller coaster right now.
No. You got a great topic. Great topic you brought. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
And thank you for doing your hard work in putting this together. I've worked in education now a lot of my life. Last 10 years, the vouchers have been at the forefront. The elephant in the room has always been money. What's going to happen to the public schools? I think everybody's for a free choice and opportunity to go to schools that you choose to school to. I've gone to a private college. I'm proud of being in a private school. But I do think, and it's good for us to say, let's take a look at the money and make sure that we're able to take care of the least of these, as you talked about, as well as all of those that want to be a part of Bradley and Cleveland. Great school system. So it's always all about the money here. And that's what my greatest, there are two people in my life that have really been advisors for me. One's deceased, Don Goff. The other's my wife. And she's harped on me continually about it's a dollars bill. It's the dollars. Where's the dollars going to go? And that's why I will vote for this today. But I think it's good to pause and take a look at what's happening in Nashville and giving our people there. They're good people and will make a good work for us. Make this at least look at where the money's going and what we're going to lose as districts, because we need to take care of the taxpayer. And many taxpayers want the private schools. I get that. But right now, we can't rob from the county and the city and put it over here and say, God bless you, move on, because it'll come back to roost with us. So,
and I think as the state moves forward and legislatures are having to make this decision, that when our voices are heard, I hope it makes a difference. I would also like to say, when I think about choice, I think about there's no better place to be than Bradley County Schools. I think the choices that we offer in our schools are far beyond most. But the impact of universal vouchers, I do believe, would be widespread. I think that's the intent from people outside of Tennessee. As you read and dig more into that, it is the influences are coming in from outside of Tennessee. I firmly believe that we are the volunteer state with our own minds, with our own core values, and I hope that that's where we land. But I want to go back to saying I applaud the commission for taking on the viewpoint of let's look at the funding, but I also want to commend Mr. Rogers for thinking we need a longer study at this whole voucher and the impact on the financial repercussions of whether or not we open this up full scale.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank
Cash.
you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Discussion closed. Call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Pass.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Alford,
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 pass.
Thank you very much. The next agenda item is mine, and I'm going to turn it over momentarily here or briefly to the vice chairman. It's yours, sir.
We have a public hearing. This is E we're working on? Right?
E, go move up one there.
Motion to submit a letter to the local, state, and federal elected officials, along with state and federal Veterans Administration, requesting assistance in clearing the bureaucracy and filling our veterans' home with deserving veterans.
Thank you very much. What we have here, we had a long time in the works, probably 10 to 12, 15 years to get our veterans home. The grand opening was June of last year. They started off with 4 of 108 beds filled. In the fall of last year, I approached Representative Raper and Senator Lowe about the situation. They intervened and was assured, at that time they had 8. They were assured they'd have 20 of those beds filled by December. Here it is, March, and we are at 21 of 108. We have, according to the administrator, when she spoke to me, we have over 400 veterans on the waiting list. Some of those are either homeless or close to being homeless. Some are in dire need of adequate quarters. And this letter here addresses the bureaucracy of what we're dealing with, which is a disgrace. The administrator is doing a great job over here. She's a wonderful person, but she's restricted by those higher up. And as I understand, they just had a recent inspection, and they are now okay to fill more, but they're going to do it on a gradual basis. Well, their idea of a gradual basis over approximately 9 months has been 21 of 108. We might be here 2 years from now, still filling that thing up. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the proposed letter, please.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I think you've asked for it earlier. Commissioner Hughes is second. Any discussion? Mr. Blake.
First of all, the language in here, I like the word deserving veterans. That's an interesting concept. But Mayor, help me with this. I was trying to think, because this precedes my tenure on the commission, but I know we received a couple $1 million from an anonymous donor, and we a number of HCI grants came out as well. So the county put a lot of money involved in this. A little skin in the game, as the saying goes, on that. And then the whole, it took years, I believe. So I just want to let everybody know, we put up money up here. There was an anonymous donor. They had tons of fundraising, and I agree with Chairman Cry. It's a bit disappointing that you know, after the ribbon cutting and the groundbreaking, and they weren't ready. You always have some little nuances on, but 2 years out and they're not, you know, they're not making the grade. I think, yeah, something needs to be said. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
I agree with you, Chairman Cry, that, you know, it took us a long time to get that home here, a lot of money and a lot of time, and it needs to be filled up. It needs to serve the veterans. There's plenty of veterans in this community that needs help and probably needs a home to go to, so we do need that letter to go.
There are several up at these daycares, these centers around Cleveland that are waiting to get in and paying their life savings in the estate of their estates before they can get into the veterans home. But a contractor by the name of Steve Williams and also the Wright Brothers Construction Company contributed the land free of charge. There's a gentleman that asked to remain anonymous. I know where he lives, and I've spoken to him. He contributed over $1 million, plus all the other money. And now all we get are delays. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Shall we call the roll?
Goins?
Yes.
Slater?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Motion to submit this letter is a unanimous consent, Chairman.
Thank you.
Back to you.
I'll now go to agenda item F. Commissioner Hughes, please.
Mr. Chairman, it's a resolution to rezone from forestry agricultural residential district to specialized commercial C3 district property located on or around 7896 Dalton Pike Southeast and identified by tax map 097 parcel 039. These can be seen on pages 37 and 38 of the agenda. I put this in the form of motion.
We'll have a second, please. Commissioner Goins, we'll now go into a public hearing on this particular agenda item. Is there anyone here that would like to speak for or against? Please. Yes, sir. Provide your name, please.
Ben Berry with Berry Engineers. Real excited about this. We worked with Dollar General quite some time. They've been wanting to put a store somewhere around the state line. As a resident of Bradley County, I was glad to see it fall on our side, just for the sales tax and tax purposes, and also a longtime property owner gets the opportunity to sell his property. Putting in a left turn lane, Dalton Pike, working with TDOT to improve safety. We met with the adjacent property owner, putting in a 6-foot wooden fence and some trees. So all around, I think it's going to be a good project for that area.
Very much. Anyone have any questions? Barry? Thank you very much. Or anyone else that would like to speak for or against? Public hearing is now closed. Open for discussion. No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Goins?
Yes.
Slater?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you. Agenda item G, Commissioner Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution to rezone from forestry agricultural residential district to specialized commercial C3 district, property located at or around 5800 block of Georgetown Road Northwest, identified by tax map 026 parcel 007.00. This can be seen on pages 39 and 40 of the agenda. I place this into a motion.
Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Goins on the second. Do you recall the vote on the planning commission?
It was unanimous.
Unanimous. We'll now go into a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak for or against this proposed item? There be no one wanting to speak? Yes, Commissioner Winters, please.
Commissioner Hughes, what's going to be there?
They were going to put storage there, but it's of boats and outdoor storage space, so boats and things of that
So it's
nature.
going to be outside storage, open air
It'll be
storage?
open air is what
But
they
it'll
were
be
saying.
off of 60 Highway, pretty good.
Yes.
Any other discussion, please? There being none, call the roll, please.
Goins?
Yes.
Slater?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Agenda item H, again, Commissioner Hughes, please.
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution to rezone from rural residential or R1 district to general commercial C2 district, property located at or around 2970 Dalton Pike Southeast, and identified by tax map 066P, Group F, parcel 003.00. These can be seen on pages 41 and 42 of the agenda. I place this as a motion.
Do you recall the vote of the planning commission, sir?
Again, it was unanimous.
Thank you. We're now going into a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the proposal? Public hearing is now closed, open for discussion. In discussion.
Can I,
Commissioner Winters.
this is going to be a personal storage?
This-
Garage?
I think so. I'll have to go back to
It just says
Ron on this.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, this one that we're voting on now, do you recall what exactly he was putting there?
Discussion closed. Call the roll, please.
I think I need a second, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
I
we
think-
need a second. Commissioner Rogers on the second.
Okay, thank you.
Let me speak on that. What it is, this property will not perk. They can't get a septic, so he can't build a house. He wants to build just a residential garage for his own stuff to put in this property. He can't do that without first building a house. So that's the reason we had to rezone it to a commercial zone so he could put a garage in that. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? No questions. Call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
We'll now move to agenda item I, Commissioner Tommy Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve this resolution, and this resolution is urging the General Assembly of the State of Tennessee to enact laws to facilitate nullification of certain federal action and federal overreach to uphold state sovereignty. The rest of this is on pages 43 through 56. Put this in the form of a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Goins on the second. Open for discussion, please. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 14 in favor and none opposed.
Thank you. We'll now move to communication from the audience. The chairperson will recognize anyone for 5 minutes,
Mr.
please.
Chairman,
Yes.
I totally forgot to mention something, during the committee report, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, the deadline for applying for the State of Tennessee Property Tax Relief Program and the Bradley County Tax Freeze Program is fast approaching. Mr. Chairman, I urge all eligible property owners to visit the trustee's office and apply for those programs by April 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gleason, please.
Deborah Gleason, 4th District. I'll stick to my notes, so I'll stay within my time frame. Last week, I made a statement regarding homeschools, and I mentioned that I wasn't prepared to share the statistics at this time, that I would share them with you. To clarify, Commissioner C, I'll say, I believe you realize that I wasn't taking issue with the resolution that you were proposing, because I wasn't. My issue was with the dialogue that was taking place between the commission and our state representative, which I stated I found very offensive. The rhetoric was inferring that the reason the homeschool did not want to be part of the endeavor by the state to make them part of a state government school system was because the homeschool did not want to be accountable. First and foremost, the homeschools do not want to be accountable to the same things as the public schools because the public schools are upholding various accreditation in order to get various funding. The homeschools are not. Bear in mind, when the public schools closed down shop, quote unquote, so to speak, during the COVID fiasco, the homeschools didn't miss a beat. Their children continued to learn and not via a computer monitor. That is being accountable to the education of their children. A quote, experience and anecdotes have led many people to believe that homeschool parents were either moved to the country anarchist goat herders or right-wing Bible thumpers, and their children were either mathematically limited due to mom's fears of math or child prodigies in rocket science who were unthinkably socially hindered, unquote. Now, let's talk about statistics. In the Journal of College Admission, summer 2010, quote, exploring academic outcomes of homeschooled students, written by Michael Kogan, who served as the director of institutional research and analysis at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. It was pointed out
that the National Center for Education Statistics, 2008, released an estimate indicating the number of homeschooled students between the ages of 5 and 17 had increased from 800,000 in 1999 to over 1,508,000 in 2007. This represents an 88% increase, which is very valid. In addition, the Journal of College Admission 2004 reported that test results indicated gender, family income, and parent educational level had little effect on these test scores. The findings were that compared to traditional school students, homeschooled students achieved higher standardized test scores, such as ACT. Another resource, National Home Education Research Institute, peer-reviewed, Volume 38, Issue 1, 2022, Quantitative Insights into the Academic Outcome of Homeschools from the Classic Learning Test, December 9th, 2022. A very comprehensive research article which it will indulge those educators who revel in charts on statistics. If you have an interest in looking at this information, I will be happy to email it to you, each of you, to peruse, because there's so much information, there's no way I could copy it for you all. So if you're interested, I will gladly send that to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Commissioner Rawls. How y'all doing today? You know, I find that school voucher bill very interesting. And I think interesting to alarming that, you know, we may have differences on, you know, educational protocols, procedures, but money's money. And when you look into that, and then it to me, it's somewhat deceptively worded that this money from this would be made available, and there is money in this bill as it stands now to make that money available to illegal aliens. So actually, we're incentivizing individuals to come to our community who do nothing to support the tax base, and in many ways, you know, decrease the tax base because they are, you know, require a lot of resources that there's no funding system for that. So once again, funding is the issue. I also find it very alarming that when you go in and try to find two bills, and those bills are not easy to find. I have a friend who's a researcher, and I couldn't find a bill. I talked to one of y'all, and you told me you weren't able to find it, and I thought, well, you know, I've done this a lot. I can find it. Wrong. No. Not available. She had the protocols to go in and find them. That is alarming to me, that you can have a bureaucracy that it appears to me you either don't know how to use your system to make it available, or you're hiding it. There's nothing else, you know, and I find that just, you know, that's disgusting. That's our money. That's not their money. That's our money. And so, you know, I just think that, you know, whether you could have itemized this and said, we don't like this, this, and this. No, you should have just blocked it like you did and say, hey, we don't like this because of it. And then you guys come up with a better deal, and then we'll look at these things individually. The sooner you implement this sort of resolution, the better off you are, because the more leverage you have, you know, and that's actually what, you know, you should be using this leverage to protect the community. This is the sort of things that we, you know, that should be going on, and that you're aware enough of what's going on to recognize the problem. And I commend you all for doing that. And, you know, the sovereignty resolution also is important, you know, because they need to know where everybody's coming from. So appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Commissioner Thompson had missed something he'd like to bring.
Yeah, I got a question I'd like, something I forgot to mention I'd like to direct Commissioner Mallon, if he could answer this for me. and I've got two calls, and one of them was the Black Box area said that Trump got 3 votes. Then another area, the voting station said he got 2 votes. Now, this was in the paper, I understand. I didn't read the paper, and so I'd like to have an answer to that.
What's the question?
The question is,
I think we got.
why would he just get 3 votes?
Because 3 people hit the button.
I think we've got the answer from the banner. Grant, would you like to speak to that? I don't think it was the machines in this case.
There was a typographical error that was done while inserting the numbers into the grid. We did publish a correction in the paper. Don't remember which day that would have been. I think it would have been the Saturday paper. And Trump did quite well.
Can you state your name and address, please?
2075 Klingon Drive.
Chairman,
That needs to be entered into the minutes.
for clarification for Commissioner Thompson, I just looked it up for you. In Black Fox, Trump got 287 votes at Black Fox.
That's a lot more than 3, though.
It is, yes, sir.
Okay.
There's no 3 in those numbers, correct? Not at all.
Was there 3 in the paper? Did they? It was in the paper. Somebody read the paper to me, and one area had 3 votes, and the other one was 2, and I said, that's not right.
That's not quite right. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? There being none, the upcoming events, Law Enforcement Committee meeting tomorrow at noon at the Sheriff's Office. And again, the reason at the Sheriff's Office is to see the drones, I believe. Audit Committee, March the 20th at 11 a.m. here in the Commission Room. Southeast Tennessee Veterans Home Council, March the 21st, 5 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce. Household Hazardous Waste Day, March the 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sheriff's Office. Disc Golf Pop-Up Course, March the 23rd, 11 to 4 at Elrod Park, 25th to 12 p.m. On-site Menace Road Fire and Building, April the 5th, 11 a.m. Juvenile Committee, there being no